I just start doing CPR on the girl. And it's nothing like the movies. So it's my middle son's birthday. I'm out in Iowa at this time. I'm recruiting. And he said he wanted to go to Mall of America out of Minnesota. We had never been there before, so we were like, you know what? Let's go. Go to Mall of America. It's a great trip. Great little place to be if you've never been. And at the end of the night, we had this nice little hotel with a pool in it. And this is right around the time LeBron James had got traded to the Lakers. I'm a big Lakers fan. I'm a big LeBron fan. So it was like magic happening. That night, the Lakers were playing. I don't remember who they were playing, but I was very eager to get upstairs and watch them. So I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm going to go upstairs and watch this Lakers game. My wife was like, really? Like, on your son's birthday, you going to go upstairs and watch the Lakers game? I was like, yep. So as I'm standing up, a little bit of panic ensues. I see people starting to scream and gasp, and I see this dude just start running, and he jumps into the pool. So I'm like, what's going on? About 10, 15 seconds later, he pulls a little girl out of the water, and she's lifeless. So I'm like, oh no. So I kind of stand around a little bit and just wait to see like if somebody was going to do something. And like nobody's doing anything. The dude's running around in circles. People are screaming. Little kids are going crazy. It's like 50 kids in this pool. And I don't even know if that's regulation for the pool. But everybody's screaming. It's a straight panic. And I'm standing up and something just starts like pulling me towards this girl. I'm just walking and I'm thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I just keep going. So I get there and I look at everybody freaking out and I say, I know CPR. And I do know CPR because in the Air Force, like they teach you CPR if you need to know it. I was a PTL, as a PT leader. Basically, if you're going to lead PT, you need to know how to do CPR in case you have to resuscitate someone. So I had been CPR certified, but I had never actually used it. Like we learn on a dummy, not an actual real person. But I just felt like I had to because nobody was doing anything. The little girl's just laying there as everybody's screaming. So I just start doing CPR on the girl. And it's nothing like the movies. I'm telling y'all, like in the movies, they start doing chest compressions, about 5 of them, and the person coughs a little bit, wakes up. What happened? It ain't nothing like that. So the first chest compression I do, bunch of water just spills out of this girl's mouth. So I'm like, whoa. So for about the first 50 to like 75 chest compressions, I'm telling you, just water's just spewing out of this girl's mouth. And I'm thinking like, how long was she down there? And I'm trying to ask questions as I'm doing it. I'm telling people, call the paramedics, try to find a defibrillator. Like I'm handling it. And I'm also trying to get questions like, when was the last time anybody seen this girl swimming? But nobody remembered. It's a bunch of kids just having fun. The little girl's about 4 years old. So I'm just doing chest compressions. And about 2 minutes in, it's nothing. So now I'm starting to freak out. Like I'm like, yo, am I even qualified to be the one doing this? Like, should somebody else have stepped up and do this? And as I'm going, the mom is starting to be like, I'm a nurse. Like, why didn't I do CPR? So I'm like, oh my God. It's about 4 minutes in, and maybe 4 or 5 minutes in, and the paramedics come in, and it's like a relief. I was like, oh my God, like now they can take over this situation. And I'm still doing chest compressions, and as I turn and look at the paramedics, she starts coughing. But it's not her, it's like her body. Her body is just responding, and it starts coughing. I'm like, oh. So they rush over, they take over the scene, and then they start asking questions like, what happened? How long have you been doing CPR? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm explaining it to them, and then like this rush of like adrenaline just wore off. Like, so I was doing it. I had a bunch of adrenaline in me. I didn't even notice what I was doing. But now as I'm sitting there talking to them, I'm like, oh my God, like I just, did that. They're putting an oxygen mask on her. They wheel her away. So I'm like, is she gonna live? So then the cops come, they take a report. And that night, y'all, that was a tough night. Probably one of my toughest nights in my life. Because I'm just dealing with a bunch of doubt. Like, was I the right person to do that? Is that little girl gonna live? I haven't actually had a CPR certification course while I was in recruiting for like 2 or 3 years. So I was like, did I even do it right? And just started, all these questions are running through my head. So I didn't really get any sleep that night. And the next morning, I go to the hotel lobby and I'm like, hey, have y'all heard anything about the girl? And they were like, sir, you're not family. We can't disclose any of those details to you. So I was like, man, like I need to know something. Like I feel like I need to know. So I called the Bloomington Police Department. That's where we were. I was like, hey, I performed CPR on the little girl last night. I was just trying to get an update, like is she alive or what? And they wouldn't tell me. They said, you're not part of the family. We can't give you those details. So now, you know, it's weighing on me. I go back to Iowa, go back to my job, start recruiting. I was a successful recruiter out in Iowa. But after that situation, about the next 3 weeks, not getting any updates about what happened, it like wore on me, and my production kind of fell off as a recruiter. So people were like, what's going on? Like, you know, you're a good recruiter. What happened? Or like, why are you having a hard time putting people in now? And I was like, man, like I've been dealing with something. Like I need, you know, I need closure. Like I did CPR on this girl, but I don't know if I actually saved her life. Like I don't know if I was the wrong person. Like if I was the wrong person, did I kill her? Or if I was the right person, did I save her? I need to know that in order for me to like go on with my life. So one of my mentors, he was like, you know what? I got you. So like he used his official capacity and called the Bloomington Police Department and was like, this is Master Sergeant blah, blah, blah. You know, one of our members had did CPR on a little girl. We're trying to write him a medal, so we need to know all the details to include in the medal. So they told him that I did end up, in fact, saving that little girl's life. And they told him that if it weren't for me, she would have died. So then when I hear that news, it's like a big weight just taken off my shoulders. Instant relief, because I've been wearing this. I've been dealing with this for like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at this time. So it's just like, oof, finally got some closure on that situation. And so when I think back to Lil Jody before joining the Air Force, there's no way I would have been able to take over a scene like that, control it, and actually save someone's life. That I would have never been able to do that. Well, because of the training that the Air Force gave me, there's somebody alive because of it. And that's big to me. That's a hard story to tell. I don't really tell it. I usually get emotional when I tell that story. But if y'all want to hear one of the hardest times in my career, I got a video on the screen right now. Hopefully this video brought value to you. Like I always say, stay beautiful, stay classy, and until next time, check me out.